Welcome, welcome. You're watching All Astrology. Capricorn, are you ready? Are you ready? We're going to talk about your February 2023, and we're going to give cards. 2 cards with each event. Before I go any further, there's another video. It's a short one. It's about a 10-11 minute video. Go watch it. It talks about the changing energies in the month of February. There's multiple big other things that are moving and transiting or ingressing, as they say, changing into a different sign. So you get the total picture, the total package. So we have a ending, and it begins right at the beginning of February because it's a full moon. So for Capricorn energy, we are having a full moon in Leo. Yes, in the sign of Leo. So what does Leo mean? What are the keywords for Leo? Leo energy is fun. Think about when you were a kid. What did you used to do to have fun? Play. Yes, you used to play. What kind of things did you like to play when you were a kid? What exactly did you like to do? I know for myself, I don't think I've ever really shared this here. When I was a child, I used to partake in a very Leo type of activity. And it was my time where I felt free, where I felt uniquely me. And I was alone. Okay. It was an activity that I did by myself. And there was something so beautiful. It was like I felt like I was connecting to the divine when I was involved in this activity. Now, that may seem like a really far out there, because this was just me as a kid having fun, right? But it just so happened that this particular activity that I loved to do, because it brought me joy. And that's another Leo keyword. You feel joy, right? It's like, what the hell is joy anyway, right? It's almost like, it's like when we're engaged or doing what we were meant to do. It feels almost pure, right? It's very light. It's almost bubbly, like I was going to say effervescent, I kept hearing, but it's almost bubbly, right? So that's going to be different. That thing is going to be different for everybody. But Leo energy truly connects us to that. It truly makes us wonder, like, is this me? Is this me? Is this divine? Like that whole thing. So what did you used to do when you were a kid that you really had fun doing, that you felt some joy, that it made you laugh even, right? Because Leo energy is like the comedian. It's funny. It likes to have a good time and it wants to laugh. The laughter, how healing is laughter. When we laugh, right? We literally lighten our load. We literally feel so different. It changes the energy completely. The Leo is the sun, the actual sun, the luminary in the sky. It rules the sign of Leo. And without that sunlight, we would die, right? So Leo energy is not only courageous, but it's bright, it's shining, and it's optimistic. It's optimistic. So think of fun. Think of your friends who are positive, who are courageous. Like that's that big lion, the big old mane and the colors, lots of colors, right? Lots of beautiful Leo energy. This is a let go, a release, and a closure. So possibly something that you used to do when you were a kid, some sort of an activity that you engaged in, something that you did possibly because you associated it to having a good time, to making you feel good. Yeah. So let's find out, Capricorn. Let's look at the astrology and see where this thing is for you. Okay. It says you have Leo energy in your 8th house. So this is bonded energy. So this is shared values. So for some of you, it can relate to things, right? Because when a husband and a wife or a partnership, there's usually something tangible that they have together. Bonded energy, because it's your 8th house. So it's emotions. Yeah, deeply bonded emotions. So whatever these things are that you did to connect to something or someone because it made you feel somehow better, or like you were connecting to joy and happiness, like my happy place, right? it's that Leo energy, right? And so it can be a bit of a mystery, but it's digging deep. It's uncovering stuff because the eighth house is the esoteric. It's the house of the investigator, right? It's the house in the zodiac where it's like, okay, what is this? Like, I got to investigate. I got to dig deep. I got to figure this out. That's the eighth house energy, right? So if you have Leo there, that means masculine energy because the sun is masculine, right? And the sun is the ruler of this full moon because the sun rules the sign of Leo, right? So that's a fascinating setup, isn't it? Because we're talking about a full moon and we're talking about the sun. Aha, now you understand where I'm going. What happens when we have the sun and the moon together? And in essence, this was what a full moon in Leo is. It's an ending, but this ending, sun opposing the moon, ending, full moon, sun opposing the moon, brings about a beginning. Sun and the moon together is a new moon. It brings a new beginning. So in essence, this ending is bringing a new beginning. It is literally you are releasing and letting go to make room for the new. So there may be emotional attachments to shared energies, shared experiences, shared objects, shared things. There might be some emotional bonds to that. And it is going to be masculine energy. Again, I'm saying it again and again. This can be males in your life, but it can also be females who kind of carry that assertive, masculine boss type of energy. Somebody who's very courageous. You might look up to them even because that's Leo energy. So you bond deeply with those type of people. Keep that in mind, all right? But there's something here that you're releasing, and it will only usually be a big deal, like oh wow, we're really making a release, if you have something at the matching degrees of this full moon. And those degrees for this full moon are 16 degrees and 40 minutes. Okay, so it's your eighth house, it's emotions, and it is wounds. It's emotional, intense, deep wounds from the past. And that would be connected to it can be connected to romantic partners because that is also Leo energy. I'm going to go through the keywords real quick of Leo. Children, fun, joy, creativity, romance, dating, mating, relating, right? Having fun with my body, taking a risk with my body. So this could be sports for some people or other ways to have fun with our body, right? So deep emotional wounds connected to that. What are you releasing? It's here in Leo energy. It's in your eighth house. This will bring a healing for you, Capricorn. That's the promise, a healing. Now let's get you a card. Vulnerability. There's a big hand. I don't know if you can see that big hand. See the little one resting in like the seashell, right? Like it's a giant seashell from the ocean. Emotions we're talking about here, right? This makes sense. This is totally making sense here. There's some sort of vulnerabilities, possibly something from, when you were a little bit more naive, possibly in your life, because young people are typically naive, and this definitely looks like a youngster. And see the big hand up in this corner here, right on the edge here, holding that seashell, holding the little one, giving them time to restore, to relax, to get some respite, to heal, right? So there's nurturing involved here, but it's like a hand from the heavens. Divine nurturing is playing a role in this. We talked about, the sun, and the sun is on this card as well up in that corner, or that's a harvest moon. Yeah, it could go both ways, but it really does look like it would be the sun because we can see the water. See how we can see the colors in the water and the light blue and the darker shades of blue in the cove. So it's like the sun is setting in this picture. Yep. Interesting. So the sun was up and now it's going down, and it's time to rest. It's time to relax. It's time to restore ourselves. Let me look at your numerology, your numbers on this. Number 34, that's a spiritual number. Okay, see that's a 34, that's a 7. That's a spiritual number. Sometimes we seek perfection, they're telling me. Perfection, perfection, perfection. Just remember sometimes it's best to go with the flow. Use that water to go with the flow sometimes. Not all the times, but sometimes, especially when you realize, there's just too much stress. So it's time to unwind. It's time to relax. It's time to allow what you're feeling and to let the healing come. Your vulnerabilities are part of this because that's definitely an eighth house keyword is vulnerabilities. I know I didn't mention it, but when we think of our wounds, yeah, it's weird. We got hurt because it was in a location of our emotions and our psyche where we were vulnerable. Yeah. And showing your vulnerabilities, which is what this little one is doing. You're very vulnerable when you sleep, right? And this one is trusting that it's going to be okay. You make it out of that vulnerable spot, and people look at you and they're like, my God, you're so strong. You're able to share how vulnerable you were. And that helps others and brings a healing. The next event is a new moon, and your new moon energy happens in a warm sign. It's a little bit more feminine, right? This full moon was a masculine sign. This new moon is a feminine sign. It's warm, it is nurturing, it's super sensitive, it's empathy, it's understanding, it's unity and compassion. It's we are all one. Yes, this is a new moon in Pisces. Did you guess it? Pisces new moon. So the new moon Pisces is a new layer of understanding. Yes, we are going to have this understanding about they're showing me like a bunch of chaos, and then they're showing me lines of thread underneath the chaos, and these lines of thread, we're all connected to the lines of thread. So even though there's all this chaos and craziness and divisiveness all around and whatever, below all of that, they're showing me two distinct lines. It's really wild. There's two separate lines I'm seeing right under all the chaos. And they're saying that at the ends of each of these two lines is everybody, all the souls, right? That they're all connected. Oh, they're saying that the second line, the one line, are souls that are on, it's a different level, and it's not a better level. It's just a different level. And the other line are souls who, yeah, just a different level. So they're saying don't get into the differences between those levels, because the differences are not what the Piscean energy is about. It's just understanding there are differences. Does not mean that it's better than the other, right? So they're showing me those two lines, and they're saying those two lines are being shown just for that reason, just to show you that even though there's this unity, there's differences within the unity, and that's part of the divine plan. They're supposed to be. So it's a new beginning, and somehow there's an understanding that you're going to be getting. So let's find out where this happens so that this makes a little bit more sense. Capricorn, your new beginning. Communication, talking, relating, maybe business, possibly learning, maybe teaching. This is your third house. So there could even be short journeys involved, like getting in the car or getting on the train. And, doesn't include getting in the plane and flying far away. It's something that is local transportation, short trips, short journeys, businesses, merchants. This is a new beginning, but because it's in Pisces, there's an understanding about this. There's an understanding about all those keywords. The thinking is changing. They're telling me you're changing your thoughts. So you're changing the way your perspective. You have a new perspective. It's Pisces energy. It's near the 0-degree mark. It's at 122. Yep, it's at 122. So that means it's actually a very big new beginning because it's near a critical degree. So in your chart, if you have something at 29 degrees of Aquarius, 0 degrees of Pisces, 1 degrees of Pisces, 2 degrees of Pisces, even 3 degrees of Pisces, you're feeling this. You're feeling it. You understand it. You're like, yeah, I'm thinking about this differently. So this is when we think of people in the third house: siblings, coworkers, schoolmates, neighbors, people within your community, peers. So this can be shopkeepers, like when you go shopping, people who are in the shop shopping with you, people who are on the other side, the merchants, people who are working. There's something changing here. There's something in your perspective, in your thoughts, in your mind. And because it's Pisces, Pisces is a release energy. So you're thinking very differently. You're seeing the big picture. They're telling me even though this is a new beginning, it's an end of a cycle for you. You're ending a cycle because of the clarity of seeing the big picture. Because Pisces includes houses 1, 2, 3. It includes the whole zodiac. Pisces has the understanding of the previous 11 signs. So it sees like the steps. It sees the things that it went through. It sees all of its other energy. And it's like, aha, I understand this, and I get it why I'm doing this new thing now. how this new perspective is going to change the way I talk, the way I relate, communicate, the way I teach, the way I think. Like all that's changing because your thoughts in your head are changing. And it's about release energy. It's Pisces. Pisces is 5D, right? So it doesn't put a whole lot of value on the 3D, on the material. It gets the 5D. It understands that the unity, the understanding, the acceptance, the almost magical power of the thought of saying, hey, once I make this decision, I can move forward and this can actually happen because it starts here. So they're saying something about the tangible and the 3D, you have a very different perspective on. And because it's Pisces, even though it's a new beginning that involves acceptance, that involves surrendering something, that involves surrendering an old thought, surrendering an old way of communication. So it's interesting because it kind of mixes in multiple types of, yeah, it's almost like a duality of, wait a minute, what? Which is interesting for you because the third house is Gemini and that's all about duality. And so is Pisces. So don't feel bad. Don't feel they're saying don't feel as though like there's double talk, like a two side of the face thing. Somebody says one thing over here, and the next minute they turn around and they say this, and it seems to contradict what they said over here. They said, don't feel bad. You got Pisces, a dual sign. Hold on, I'm sorry. Pisces, a dual sign. Yeah, they said, don't feel bad. You have Pisces, a dual sign in a house, third house, Gemini, which is a dual sign. So they're saying there's nothing to feel bad about. There's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to feel like, don't be harsh on yourself with the judgment or the too much of of negative talk towards yourself or others for that matter. They said this is only going to occur because you're realizing something within yourself, and having that realization, there may be a temptation to pass judgment because, well, Jupiter is an ancient ruler of Pisces, and so that's also here in the third. So they're saying to just be cautious on unconscious judgments, right? Unconscious judgments of yourself, and whatever we do to ourselves, however we talk to ourselves, we're doing it to others, even though it might not be out loud. We're doing it here. And so let's pull you a card already because this is a celebration. It's the new beginning. It has to do with the way you think and the understanding of unity, and that you've got this really idealistic perspective, and that's beautiful. Never lose that. That is, we need more people like this right now. They're saying, please hold that near and dear. It's one of the greatest riches there are. Okay. This deck is really big. My hands are not big, and this deck is big. So bear with me. I have a difficult time. All right, we're ready. Split the deck, they said. Splitting the deck. Cutting it in half. They're saying to split it again. Okay, tricky, split it again. Okay, they're telling me it's that card right in the middle. So I lifted this one, and they're telling me it's this one right here. I gotcha. Are you ready? Here we go. Let me get the lamp for you. Assurance. Now, this card has color on the top. On the bottom, it's green. It's the earth. There's a lot of green on one side and a buttload of sunlight on the other side. So this card is about balance. It's about both sides. And then you see how we get color and fruit, and we have all the seasons up on top even, right? Like autumn, and there's even like no leaves, almost like a winter scene on that one side, right? So there's masculine and feminine energy, but there's beings in this tree. Do you see the beings up there in that tree? I don't know how good you can see that. There we go. Got to work out with my light a little bit more here. See the beings up in the tree? There's assurance. It's saying, don't worry about it. Like, you're going to have support in this process. This is a new beginning that involves balance. It is the earth, very prominent earth energy, right? Very little water in the background there. Very, very earthy, very grounded. It's almost simplistic, right? There's not like a confusing amount of colors. It's not that it's black and white, you know what I'm saying? But it's saying, like, keep things simple, keep things there's absolutely a simplicity involved in this. Following the seasons that nature shows us, that's what this card is doing. It's saying not to let things get too complicated. The answers are there, and the way forward is there. And so this is assurance. This is a number 5. And that's number 5 represents a new beginning, by the way. So you got a new beginning card, and it's saying you got this because here's the assurance card coming through. It's like the nature nymphs are supporting this. If you stay focused on the earth, look at that. If you stay focused on the earth, look what happens. You see more. You see how your choices, who they're affecting. You'll see a direct correlation, and that will actually keep you going on your path. Yeah, the tree has a life, right? It's not just a tree. It literally has a life. Yeah. And it's been alive for many generations. Many generations. This is a big old tree. Yeah. Has a lot of life in it, and it's got lives to go. Yeah. So it's saying there's plenty of assurance here for you. You're on the right path. And this is a grand new beginning because the earth is supporting you in this beginning. So possibly learning something new, okay? Keep keep an open mind, and you will be guided by the divine. Happy February 2023, Capricorn. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.